the Raiders to Denver. They made some moves today to protect Russell Wilson, rebuilding that offensive line. Mike McGlinchey agreeing to a massive deal, $87.5 million for 5 years. Ben Towers agreeing to 4 years worth $52 million. But Dan, how important is that for Russ? You think about how he struggled last season. Now, at least, it looks like he's got more protection.
Everybody in the NFL should take a book from the Broncos on this, because we often ask the question, no matter what level or age the quarterback is, like, how do you get the quarterback to play better? And so often the immediate reaction is like, get him receivers. No, protect them. I think that's the beauty of this situation is Sean Payton came in and said, well, we got to address the offensive line, and we got to get a right tackle that we feel can protect them.
So wait a second. Let me see if I can get this straight. Sean Payton comes into the league after being out of football for a year or so, and he immediately recognizes that the most important thing he needs to do is protect Russell Wilson. And he goes out and gets 2 big-time NFL linemen and pays a ton of money for them. So tell me, why didn't the Miami Dolphins do that for Tua? If you've gone all in on Tua Tagovailoa, as everybody says, he is him. He is the guy. We are riding or dying with Tua. If that's the case, why aren't you protecting him like he is all you have? Something's not right. Listen again to what Dan Orlovsky says right here.
Everybody in the NFL should take a book from the Broncos on this, because we often ask the question, no matter what level or age the quarterback is, like, how do you get the quarterback to play better? And so often the immediate reaction is like, get him receivers. No, protect them.
The most important thing you can do for a quarterback is protecting him. That is job number one. Why is it that the Miami Dolphins have passed on all of these players? And if you think they're too expensive, I have a question for you. Knowing Tua's injury history, the concussions and other injuries, I posted something on Twitter today, and I wasn't being tongue-in-cheek. I actually meant this. People are saying that Orlando Brown and Mike McGlinchey were too expensive for the Miami Dolphins. Okay, I got one question. If you're going to ride or die with Tua, knowing his history, why are you shopping in the discount bin? What is the price tag? What is the budget for protecting Tua Tagovailoa? Doesn't make any sense. Sure, Mike McGlinchey went for about $16.5 million. Orlando Brown went for a boatload of money. But one of them is going to be protecting Russell Wilson, and the other one's going to be protecting Joe Burrow. I think both of those quarterbacks are going to sleep real easy knowing that their, backside is being protected. So what is it about the Miami Dolphins? I'm going to hear from everybody. Orlando Brown only wanted to play left tackle. Sure. Okay. Whatever. But they're not getting anybody else. They're not bringing any top level talent in. And luckily, I don't think I'm going to get flamed today, because a lot of the Dolphins Twitterati is understanding and looking around and going, hey man, what the hell's going on? At first I thought the Dolphins were going to go all in and go after Mike McGlinchey. So when free agency opened up and I saw Mike McGlinchey on the market, I'm thinking this is a no-brainer. He's from the Shanahan tree. He understands the 49ers offense that Mike McDaniel was involved in. 5 years, $16.5 million. Go get him. Protect Tua. You got Tehran on one side. He makes complete sense on the other. Nope, didn't take a shot. Next up was Caleb McGarry. He looked for about $11 million a year. Not a bad price for a stud tackle. I thought the Dolphins would go after him. Nope, no such luck. Passed on him as well. And then, of course, who was left? Orlando Brown. And we said maybe Orlando Brown could be talked into playing right tackle, but if the money is right. He goes for 4 years at $64 million, $15 million a year. Do the Dolphins take a shot at him? Not that we know of. So who do the Dolphins take a shot at? Well, today they signed Dan Feeney, mullet guy, refugee from the Jets. That's what we got. That's who the Dolphins went after. You're telling me you're pushing all in on Tua, and that's what you're going to do to protect him? This doesn't make any sense at all. You're going all in on Tua. I keep saying it. You've told us you're going to ride or die. Tua is he. Tua is him. With his injury history, you're bringing in mullet guy, a bigger version of, Gardner Minshew. This guy plays tackle. What are you guys doing? But luckily, the fan base is seeing it. This guy who is an ardent supporter of Tua, I mean, he's at everyone's throat if you dare speak negatively against Tua. Big guy in Dolphins Twitter. I can't lie, I'm very happy with the free agency move so far. The defense, Jalen Ramsey, yeah. But if this team doesn't have at least 2 more starting caliber offensive linemen added to the roster by training camp, I'll be very concerned. Yep, absolutely, you better be. Kyle Krabs from Grinding the Tape. I'll say this, if there aren't more starting caliber offensive line on the roster than there are now when the calendar says August 1st, I'm going to be ticked off. You should be. Dolphins YouTuber, Dudley Do Wrong. I'm getting a decent amount of pushback from wanting a better right tackle, for wanting the team to do more to protect Tua's blind side. Remember, he's a lefty. They haven't added anyone new at the tackle position, and the O-line last year was ranked 22nd in the league. If we want to do anything, we got to win in the trenches. And he's absolutely right. There's no debate. We cannot win. The Miami Dolphins cannot win with the offensive line that they had last year, and there's been really no noticeable improvement. And here's another. People can't possibly have watched the Super Bowl and not realize that a good offensive line is paramount. If you watched the Super Bowl or followed football last year, you know that the Kansas City Chiefs have a dominant offensive line. And you also know that the Philadelphia Eagles may actually have had a better line. So your offensive line is that important, and it seems to be an afterthought with the Miami Dolphins. Mike Binns says, why build such an incredible roster just to ignore the one spot that can derail everything? If Tua goes down due to poor offensive line play, our season could be shot, and every great signing trade gets diminished. I am officially concerned. You should be. So I'm going to ask you again, what is the price that you want to pay? What is the price you expect the Dolphins to pay to protect Tua Tagovailoa? I would think that would have been a priority. That would have been purchase number 1. Let me get some insurance for Tua Tagovailoa. But it's odd. They're not. They seem to be just going along thinking that Austin Jackson and a few of these guys, Eichenberg, are going to be fine. How did that work out last year? Seriously, how did that work out last year? I'm not blaming those guys for Tua getting concussions, but they couldn't run the ball. If you can't run the ball, Tua's effectiveness, even if he's healthy, is going to be diminished. Remember, this is his second year in this offense. So there's a lot of tape for these defensive coordinators to take a look at. You think that they're just going to let Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle run wild down the field? No, if I know you can't run, if I know that there's no threat of you running the ball on me, what do you think I'm going to do? I'm going to force you to pass. And then if you go ahead and pass, I'm going to make sure my coverage is such and tell the guys, don't worry too much about the run. This is a dangerous game the Dolphins are playing on a number of different fronts. Most importantly, the health and resilience of Tua Tagovailoa. Am I overreacting? No, not at all. I just showed you a bunch of people feel the same way. They finally caught up to the party here. This is a real concern moving forward, and there's not many puzzle pieces left on the board. I'm not sure what the Miami Dolphins are going to do. If they're expecting to draft some kid and plug him in to start, I don't know how that's going to work out. So there's a reason why they didn't spend big on the right tackle. There's a reason why they haven't really brought in any quality linemen yet. And I think I know that reason, but I'm not going to go there yet. I'm just going to keep watching to see what's going on. But if you're really all in on Tua, the question remains, what would you pay to protect him? I can't answer that, and obviously the Dolphins aren't answering it either. Let me know what you think. What would you pay to protect the one player on this team that you know if he goes down, the season is over? Let me know in the comments. Talk to you soon. Fins up.
Everybody in the NFL should take a book from the Broncos on this, because we often ask the question, no matter what level or age the quarterback is, like, how do you get the quarterback to play better? And so often the immediate reaction is like, get him receivers. No, protect him.
Is anybody catching on to this Barry guy?